And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. The Nest Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, the distinguished publisher of Random House and Landmark books, Bennett, Cerf.
On my left, an irresistible and versatile girl who jumps right from the What's My Line panel show to the drama Suspense on Tuesday night, Miss Arlene Francis.
And on my left, the dimpled gentleman whose face beams out at you this week on TV Guide, Hal Block.
Thank you, Arlene. So does all of you. And on my left is a man whose views of the news could blow a hot fuse. Our master of ceremonies, John Daly.
Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stop It. Once again tonight, we've got some nice people as our guests who have various types of occupations, some of them we hope very much unexpected as far as the panel is concerned, and they're all here to give the panel a run for the money, hope to carry home some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program, but now it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job they've got to spot. So would you sign in, please, ma'am? Bonnie Baker. Miss or Mrs.?
It's Mrs.
Mrs. Baker. Where are you from, Mrs. Baker?
I'm from Regina, Canada.
Regina? That's up in Saskatchewan
That's
country,
right.
isn't it? Well, for heaven's sake. Well, then there's some people over there that I know you want to see a little closer on. They want to see a little more of you. So would you be good enough to walk down in front of the
certainly
panel
will,
for me?
John.
Thank you.
Mrs. Baker.
Mrs. Baker, will you come over here and sit down with me? And now, on the basis of your handwriting, what you said, how you said it, where you come from, and that walk that you took down in front of the panel, at this point, we always give them a free guess as to what your line may be. We begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she makes knitwear.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she has all the outstanding features of a model for sweaters.
Miss Francis.
I think she sells those wonderful Hudson Bay blankets from Canada.
Mr. Block.
Well, I don't know about the baker, but this is quite a sweet cookie.
That's true. Nobody has guessed the line of Mrs. Baker, and so we let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Bonnie Baker, and at the same time, panel, we'll tell them what her line is, but you're going to have to dig. You're going to have to dig. Now, Mrs. Baker, this is the way things work. Every time you give them a no answer, it costs the panel $5. We keep the record right up here. We're going to make a lot of money. 10 no's at $50, and you have won the game. Give them one more bit of help. Mrs. Baker is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Hal Block.
Oh, you doll. Do you deal in services, Miss Baker?
Yes, I do.
Do people come to you?
Yes, they do.
Do you entertain them at all?
Yes.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do your work in front of an audience?
Yes, I do.
Are there ever men in the audience?
Quite a few.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Could I ever possibly? Well, let's see, what next? Could, are there many people that do what you do in your work?
Yes.
Do you by any chance do anything physical?
Yes.
Do you move your body at all?
Uh-huh.
You do? Do you have to be in good shape?
Yeah.
do you by any chance wear a special costume?
Mm-hmm.
Is it ever kind of short?
Yes.
In the course of your work, do you ever take part of the costume off?
Yes.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
Good. You're the expert.
Is there ever any music playing for your work?
Yes.
Do you ever hold anything in your hand?
Yes.
Do you ever hold it in front of you?
Yes.
Lower the boom, Clancy. I'll be home early tonight. Well, if the bubble should break, would you be embarrassed?
Yes.
No, I think we'll have to give him a no. He's presuming the presence of the bubble.
You're not a dancer?
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Just to go back a little, Miss Baker, may we assume that you are not a fan dancer? No.
Yes, you may assume that Mrs. Baker is not a fan dancer.
You perform on a stage. Do you
Beg your pardon?
Do you perform on a stage? No.
That would be 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Hey, where can she do this?
Does physical conditioning count heavily in what you do?
Yes.
You have to be in good condition?
Yes.
Would it be any form of sport or athletic endeavor in which you...
Yes.
Would it be something that is done particularly well in Canada?
No, I wouldn't say.
No. That would
No.
be 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
I did understand you to say that this was part of the entertainment business, though,
That's
what
right.
you do.
Mm-hmm.
So that while it has a sporty aspect to it,
No,
it is
don't
not
be misled,
considered a
Miss
sport.
Arlene. We are including the general area of sports
In the
in
entertainment
the
business.
entertainment business to the degree that people go and get pleasure out of watching the sport.
I see. Well, then, may I consider that this is a sport?
Yes.
This is a sport. And you don't wear very much of a costume for this sport.
No.
You say. And is it done outdoors, this sport?
Yes.
And I think it's only fair to warn the costume is adequate to its needs.
Yes. Oh, well, naturally. Better what you ever thought, Mr. Daly, of course. Is it ever performed inside at all?
No.
That would make it 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Block.
This is a killer. Well, this is a sport. You hold something in your hand. Do you ever swing something?
Yes. Yes.
Is there a ball connected with this?
Yes.
And the thing is sometimes scanty?
Pardon?
The thing that you wear is sometimes doesn't cover below
No.
your knee?
Now, this is just an issue of what you have in your own mind. The costume is adequate to its purposes. Let's put it that way.
But you swing something, there's a ball attached.
Yeah.
Are you a tennis player?
No.
That would make it 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
This is something that's always played out of doors? Yes. Is this a game that I would ever be likely to have heard of? Pardon? Would I be likely to have heard of?
I'm sure.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Is it a team with 9 people on it?
Yes.
Is it baseball? Are you a baseball player?
That's right. Mrs. Baker, Bonnie Baker, is the second baseman with the Kalamazoo Lassies. Is
That's
that right?
right.
What league is that?
That is the American Girls Baseball League.
Well, for heaven's sakes, I must get more interest in baseball. Miss Kilgallen.
I certainly think Mrs. Baker is an argument for allowing women to play in the big leagues.
I would think so, too.
You know,
yes.
as a matter of fact, when they decided they shouldn't play, they certainly pulled a bloomer.
Actually, one thing I think you'll all be interested in, they scheduled the game an hour early tonight, didn't they, in
That's right,
Kalamazoo?
Mr. Daly.
They made an announcement over the loudspeaker when the game said, everybody go home and see Bonnie on television. On
I
What's
hope
My Line.
everybody's watching.
Well, you did pretty...
Mrs. Baker.
Big fun.
What's your batting average?
Oh.
That's a very good question, Mr. Cerf. You did very well with the prize. And thanks very much for being our guest.
Bennett made an error.
All right, panel, let's see what you can do with another challenger, please. Will you come in and sign in, ma'am? Virginia Whitney, is that right? Would you be good enough to tell us, first of all, where you live?
New Orleans.
New Orleans, Louisiana? Well, that's a wonderful city. Some of the finest food in the country. I love food. That's why I keep my coat buttoned all the time. Is it Miss or Mrs.? Well, Mrs. Whitten, would you be good enough to walk down in front of the panel for me, please?
You a Tulane girl, Mrs. Whitten?
All right, Mrs. Whitten, you come over here now and sit down next to me, and on the basis of that very neat handwriting of yours and the fact that you're from Louisiana and that quick walk you took, we give them this free guess at this point. We'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think Mrs. Whitten is a society columnist.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she rides on that streetcar named Desire.
Miss Francis.
I think she trains horses.
Mr. Block.
I think she runs the Louisiana hayride.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Miss Whitten, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. But, panel, you've got to dig. The rules are, you heard me explain the rules. Every no answer, we'll keep the record right up here. You get $5. 10 no's, and you've won the game. All right, Miss Whitten is salaried. With that, we'll begin the general questioning with Miss Francis.
Mrs. Whitten, do you need some training for your job?
Yes.
Do you work indoors?
Yes.
Is there a product involved in your
Yes.
work? Is it a small product?
Yes.
You could hold it in your hand.
Yes.
Is that what you would usually do with this product? Hold it in your hand.
No, I don't think so. That makes it 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Block.
Is this by any chance a product that's worn?
Yes.
Is it worn above the waist?
Yes.
Is it worn, say, above the neck?
Yes.
Is it something that you might wear when you go to sleep?
Yes.
Well, would you wear it because it improved your appearance?
Yes.
Is it made out of cloth?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is this something that would be worn by grown-ups?
By whom?
Grown-ups, adults?
Yes.
It would be worn by them more than by children.
More, I would say. More? Just a moment. We'll have a small session.
Jury is great.
I would say no. 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
We haven't established, Mrs. Whitten. Is this worn by both sexes?
Yes.
Is it worn somewhere on the face? Well, I would include in the face the mouth, or inside the mouth, or the nose, or the eyes, or the ears.
Well, I guess, let's give him a yes, shall we?
Yes.
All right, yeah.
Would this have anything to do with the oral cavity, the mouth?
Yes.
Would it be worn inside the mouth?
Yes.
Is it some kind of a brace or something that you wear on the teeth?
Yes, that's all. That's the product. Now, what does Miss Whitten have to do with the brace?
Well, she probably makes them and fits
That's it. Makes them is right. Now, couldn't trap them even then. Well, you did pretty well with the prizes, and we certainly hope you enjoyed your visit. It's nice to know anybody would come that far to come and visit us. Very good to see you on What's My Line. Good night. All right. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. And since my friends over here in the panel would recognize our guest immediately, we've provided them with blindfolds. Are those blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, they are.
Would you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery celebrity, we dispense with all of the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in the entertainment business? No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Are you in public life?
Yes.
Has your name appeared on front pages of newspapers within the past year?
Yes.
Have you ever held or do you aspire to holding some public office?
By that, do you mean elective or non-elective?
I mean, has she ever been elected to one, or would she like to be elected to one?
You ever held an elective office?
No.
That would be 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Would you consider that you are part of the political scene in any way?
Yes.
Are you married to somebody who is very well known politically?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Block.
I take it you're part of the American political scene.
Yes.
Are you part of the Washington scene?
Yes.
Have you ever been abroad in any capacity?
Yes.
I see weenies all over the place now.
Yeah. Was it in some capacity within the last, say, 5 years?
Yes.
Boy, this kid knows what she's been doing, I'll say. Has it been something in the consular service?
No.
No, not consular service. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you not only a lady of great charm and diplomacy, but known as the hostess with the mostest on the ball?
Yes, Miss Kilgallen. The answer is yes.
Have you ever been to a delightful country called Luxembourg?
Yes.
Are you Madame Perle Mesta?
Because I was going to ask that night.
The consular service is a... Well, I'll let Mrs. Mester...
No.
We're not going to say ambassadorial. I couldn't have pronounced it.
The consular service is a civil service function, entirely different. This is an appointment to a ministerial rank.
There now.
But that'd be a lesson to
What
us.
if it said ministerial?
I must say, Mrs. Mester, that you not only have handled a very difficult assignment in Washington in achieving the rank as the first hostess of the nation there, but you have been a very fine minister to Luxembourg for your people, and I watched you at the Democratic Convention in Chicago, and I want to congratulate you on that, too.
Thank
you did a grand
you,
job.
thank you.
Mrs. Mester has asked me to tell you that all of the money which she wins tonight goes to the Purdue Scholarship Fund, and we want to thank you very much for being our guest on What's My Line. It's nice of you to come. Now let's see what the panel can do with another challenger. Would you sign in, please, ma'am? This, as you all note, is Ladies' Night on What's My Line. Geraldine Madden. Is that right? Mrs. Madden. First of all, would you be good enough to tell us where you live?
Streeter, Illinois.
Streeter, Illinois. Street, where's that near?
It's 100 miles southwest of Chicago.
100 miles southwest of Chicago. Well, we've got somebody from Chicago over there, and I would just suggest you stay about 100 miles southwest. Would you be good enough to walk down in front of the panel for me, please?
Would you shake hands, please? You look as though you might have a rather firm grip. She has.
All right, Mrs. Madden, if you'll come over here now and sit down next to me. We give our friends, on the basis of your handwriting, this quick look they've had. Would you come in just a bit closer? And what you've had to say. We give them a free guess at this point. We'll begin the free guesses, as usual, with Miss Kilgallen.
Well, I think she does something athletic. Possibly she's a track star.
A track star, Mr. Cerf.
I think she's connected with Governor Stevenson's staff in some way.
Miss Francis.
I think she's a babysitter.
Mr. Block.
I think she's probably a lady wrestler.
A lady wrestler. No, I'm afraid you're all wrong. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Madden, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. but the panel will have to dig. And I hope you can give them a lot of no answers, because Mrs. Madden, every no answer, we keep the record up here. It costs them $5. 10 no's, $50, you won the game. Now, panel, we give you one more bit of help as usual. Mrs. Madden is self-employed, and you have about 4.5 minutes to try and get her line. Self-employed, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Mrs. Madden, are you connected with services of some kind to perform? Do you require special skill and training for these services?
Yes.
Do you perform these services on human beings?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis, and about 4 minutes to go.
Is the work that you do something that people receive many benefits from?
Yes.
Is there any product involved in what you do?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Block.
Was it determined from Bennett that she didn't work with human beings?
That's right.
Well, it was implied.
Well, do you work with animals at all?
Yes.
Has it anything to do with health, what you do?
Yes.
Do you need a special training in what you do?
Yes.
Have anything to do with preserving animals?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with stuffing animals?
Stuffing animals?
Yes.
Well, you're the boss. Go ahead, Mr. Block.
Like stuffed duck. Well, I thought he was a taxidermist.
Well, you want to ask us now?
Yeah, are you a taxidermist?
That will be 3 down and 7 to go and 3 minutes to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mrs. Madden, do you work indoors usually? Yes. Do the animals come to you? Yes. Do they come under their own power? Yes.
I think we ought to say sometimes there, don't you? I mean, there would be occasions when they wouldn't, right?
Yes.
Go ahead, Miss Kilgallen.
Pretty smart of them, isn't it? Usually when they come under their own power, are they accompanied by a human being? Yes. And does this human being come to have something done to the animal? Yes. Well, is this for the benefit of the animal as well as for the benefit of the human being? Yes.
Poor animal.
Do you deal with one kind of animal in preference to the whole species of animals?
No.
No, that's
All
4
kinds
down, 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
You do something that helps these animals in some way?
Yes.
Would you have something to do with the health and care of these animals in some way?
Yes.
Would you be a lady veterinarian?
Yes.
That's absolutely right. Yes, Mr. Block.
Well, if she stuffs these animals, what does she stuff them with? Cranberry sauce?
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde, if you must know, Mr. Block.
And they're alive?
Oh, no, Hal.
No, but actually, you see, well, you just asked,
After you got
do you? And the answer is sometimes, really, on rare occasions, Dr. Madden does. He's a doctor of veterinary medicine. Actually, I think that we got a big audience tonight. We not only had all of the folks that were watching our good second baseman from Kalamazoo, Michigan, but the American Legion illustrator is gathering tonight to see Dr. Madden.
And plenty of animals, probably.
Plenty of animals.
What kind of animals do you deal with, Mrs. Madden?
All in the
kinds?
domestic animal field. Cows, pigs, horses, sheep, dogs, cats, the odd monkey or two.
The odd monkey or two, and you weren't worried about Block being up there at all. Well, what do you know about that?
Hey, will you quit aping me?
Mrs. Madden has asked me to say that she would like to have her winnings tonight go to Christ Episcopal Church. Is that right? The building fund for Christ Episcopal Church. And may both you and your church prosper, and thanks very much for coming and being our guest. It was very nice. Did very well tonight, panel. I must say I'm mighty proud of you. You did real well tonight. You all get prizes and get buttons to wear on your coats tomorrow. And in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of the guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. And next week at this same time, our panel of experts will be asked, what's my line by this man? Would you know what his occupation is? Could you spot his line? Well, for the answers to these and a good many other questions, be sure to tune in again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, when once again, Stop It invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and the time of our weekly series. Until then, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Bennett.
Don't you let Hal Bart give you any formaldehyde. Good night, Arlene.
Good night, Hal.
Loused up my joke. I was going to offer it to John.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production, in association with the CBS Television Network.